It's not often that I make a box office flop video for a movie that I didn't even watch, but I think it's appropriate here. Because somebody needs to document the fall of the Disney empire without making excuses for them. And it might as well be me. This company killed the movie industry and creativity with its dominant run. So the way I see it, their 2023 failures are a sign of a step in the right direction. That is, of course, if we ever want to get to a point where we are once again getting quality films again. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
There's no denying that Disney has had a rough year at the box office in 2023. There was a time when Disney releasing a film would almost certainly lead to box office success, regardless of quality. But that time has passed now, and it feels like audiences have grown tired of their lazy and manipulative ways.
Not impressed.
The truth is, the descent of Disney has been happening for some time now. And you could argue that it all started when Disney took the biggest movie franchise in the world, Star Wars, and completely destroyed interest in that brand to the point that Disney actually released the first Star Wars movie that did not turn a profit. And this, of course, eventually led to them not even making Star Wars films anymore, and relegating all content related to that brand to terrible Disney Plus shows.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
But it didn't stop there. It got so bad at one point that Disney actually also managed to kill interest in one of their most profitable brands. You see, once again, I come from a time when a Pixar film was a sure thing. Pixar movies were almost always going to be profitable because they had a weird way of appealing to audiences of all ages. And then they started churning out the Turning Reds of the world, the type of movie that I'm not even sure who the target audience is.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
I think the biggest Pixar fumble has to be Lightyear, where Disney got so overly confident with themselves that they decided to make a Buzz Lightyear movie that strips everything that people liked away from the character. Most notably, the fact that he was a toy and voiced by Tim Allen, proving once again that Disney doesn't even understand their own characters and stories. Hell, at this point, they don't even understand what their child audiences want.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know I'm doing it really, really well.
And that brings us next to the MCU, of course, the cinematic juggernaut that was built to be dominant for a very long time. But you see, Disney overestimated audiences' willingness to continue to watch a product that they were no longer committed to putting the proper amount of time and effort into. Yes, I know, as it stands right now, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the only real win at the box office this year for Disney. And most of that has to do with a lingering fan base from the old MCU that just wanted to see this story completed that they've been following for years.
That makes sense.
But of course, this year also saw the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and The Marvels. Two movies that the general public could honestly give two shits about. And Disney Marvel did absolutely nothing in the production or marketing of those films to change anyone's mind. The bottom line became that Disney Marvel started to create a bad product that people just aren't willing to spend their hard-earned money on anymore. And let's not forget Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny as well.
Son of a bitch.
Which is a movie that could be looked at as the final nail in the Disney Lucasfilm coffin, as they managed to bring back one of the most iconic characters in the history of film, with the goal of restoring him to his original trilogy roots, only to make something that is as bad or worse than the movie they are trying to make everyone forget. Which brings me to the latest Disney box office disaster, that being Wish. An animated film that's been described as feeling like it was cobbled together from 100 years of better movies.
Oh, there's a big surprise! I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise!
There was absolutely zero buzz around this movie. I would venture to say that most of you didn't even know it was being released. And I think that has a lot to do with how Disney has damaged their own brand. Damaged it to the point that projects like this just don't command people's attention anymore. But we are also at a point where we don't even have to watch a Disney production to know that it's not going to be good? Track record, as I always say, is everything, and we are well past the point of giving a Disney production the benefit of the doubt.
Not up in here!
Not up in here!
Of course, this hasn't stopped some people from trying to make excuses for why this film flopped. I've already seen the usual stuff like the strike and not being able to promote the film, and I'm sure somebody has already brought up misogyny and racism as well, because they always do. But the biggest excuse I've seen brought up is the old nobody supports original films theory. Once again, people are removing all accountability away from Disney and placing the blame firmly on the consumer who is not interested in this product that Disney is trying to sell them. I'll be the first person to admit that I would love to see audiences support original films more, but the reality of the situation is, just being an original film isn't enough. The movie actually has to be good as well. Plus, with reviews suggesting that this film is just rehashing old fantasy tropes that have been done better in other movies, I have to ask the question, is this movie as original as some people would have you believe?
No chance.
Here's the problem: if you can't cut together enough footage to make a compelling trailer that makes me feel like I have to see your film, then most likely I'm not the problem. Maybe it's time for people to stop making excuses, for Disney to look themselves in the mirror and figure out what they can do better. Orange Grove 55 on Twitter, or X, had this to say: Wish's weak opening is exactly why Disney is doing multiple Frozen sequels and another Toy Story. Nobody supports original films, yet complains about too many sequels. The problem with this quote is that it's only partially accurate, because Disney is doing Toy Story and Frozen sequels because they have become really good at milking established IPs. It's the type of laziness that they've become known for, and audiences recognize that. So once again, let's try holding them accountable for their lack of creativity.
Put some effort into it!
And maybe people aren't supporting original films because you aren't giving them a reason to. Disney's job is to sell the consumer on the prospect of going to see their original ideas. You can't expect audiences to just show up and support a film blindly that they have very little knowledge of. This is an example, once again, of deflection. But no amount of deflecting is going to make people with a brain forget about the real problems that are happening at Disney.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Because Disney has built themselves a new reputation. And it's not the type of reputation that's going to breed long-term box office success anymore. What we will most likely get from them, if no changes are made, is more box office failures, and that will be a reflection on how Disney currently approaches the filmmaking process.
Y'all be cool. Nah.